I want to start with a memory. Think back to a moment at any age when you moved your body purely for the joy of it, not for a goal, not to burn something off or earn something back, just because it felt good, because your body wanted to, because being alive in that moment expressed itself as movement. Maybe it was dancing when no one was watching. Maybe it was running not toward anything, but simply because running felt like freedom. Maybe it was spinning until you fell down laughing. That memory is where today's episode lives. I'm Mary Jane, and today on the Tending Hour, we reclaim movement as what it was always meant to be. Not punishment, not obligation, joy. You are someone who is trying to live well. Someone who senses that real wellness goes deeper than what you eat or how often you move. That it lives in the stories you carry, the emotions you navigate, the relationships you cultivate, and the body you have been living in all along. The Tending Hour is a podcast about what it means to tend to the whole of who you are across all three dimensions of your life: spiritual, physical, and relational. I'm Mary Jane, integrative health and wellness coach, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and founder of Trilateral Transformation. Each season, we explore a different territory of the whole person life. Each episode, we go there across all three dimensions, slowing down, looking honestly at what is happening beneath the surface, and practicing together the kind of care that a whole person deserves. No quick fixes, no performance, just real, honest, whole person tending. At trilateraltransformation.com, there is a companion workbook available for every season, a self-guided reflection space designed to help you process what each episode stirs, go deeper with the guided prompts, and carry the season's work into the texture of your actual life. Wherever you are starting, you are in the right place, and whatever you are carrying, there is room for it here. This is the Tending Hour, and you were made for this kind of tending. Welcome back to the Tending Hour. Today, I want to begin with a memory. Think back to a moment, sometime in your life, at any age, when you moved your body purely for the joy of it, not for a goal, not to burn something off or earn something back or prove something to anyone, including yourself, just because it felt good, because your body wanted to, because being alive in that moment expressed itself as movement, and it was simply wonderful. Maybe it was dancing in a kitchen when you thought no one was watching. Maybe it was running through something, rain, open space, a good mood, with no destination in mind. Maybe it was swimming or stretching in the morning sun or spinning a child around until you were both laughing too hard to stand. That memory, that felt sense of moving from joy rather than obligation, is where today's episode lives. Because somewhere between that memory and right now, for most of us, movement got complicated. It got loaded with expectation and inadequacy and punishment and performance. And today, we're going to put all of that down. Today, we talk about movement the way it was always meant to be experienced, as expression, as release, as one of the most joyful, honest, and embodied things a human being can do. Let me tell you the story most of us have been living about movement. It goes something like this. Movement is how you fix your body. It is the price you pay for eating what you ate, or the currency you earn so that you can eat what you want. It is the discipline that separates the people who have their act together from the ones who don't. It is the thing you should be doing more of, better than you are, more consistently than you manage, with more willpower than you seem to possess. It is obligation. It is correction. It is, at its most damaging, punishment. And here's what that story does to your body. It makes movement something your nervous system associates with stress, shame, and inadequacy. Which means that every time you try to build a movement practice from that story, every time you force yourself to do something your body has learned to associate with self-criticism, you are working against your own biology. A body that expects punishment does not move freely. A nervous system that associates exercise with shame does not release into joy. A person who moves to fix themselves never arrives at the feeling that they are fixed because the story that requires fixing has no finish line. So let's try a completely different story. What if movement is not how you fix your body, but how you celebrate it? What if it is not the price of being in a body, but one of the greatest privileges of it? What if the question is not how much should I be doing, but what does my body actually love? That question, what does my body actually love, is the entire foundation of this episode. And answering it honestly for yourself in your specific body with your specific history and preferences and rhythms is one of the most genuinely embodied things you can do. Let's talk about what movement actually does, because the science is genuinely extraordinary and far more nuanced than the fitness industry has ever let on. The most important thing the science of movement tells us is this: your body does not need a performance. It needs to move. The neurochemical benefits of movement, the mood regulation, the stress reduction, the cognitive clarity, the emotional processing, these do not require intensity or duration or consistency measured in weekly hours. They begin with almost any movement at all. A walk, a stretch, a few minutes of dancing in your kitchen. The threshold is remarkably, mercifully low. There is something else the science tells us that I find profound. Movement is one of the body's primary languages for processing what the mind cannot fully hold. The tension we carry from difficult experiences, the grief that has not yet found its way out, the anxiety that circulates without resolution, the joy that wants to be expressed but has no channel. All of it lives in the body, and movement, particularly movement that is self-directed, pleasurable, and attuned to what the body actually wants, is one of the most natural and effective pathways for letting it move through. This is why you feel sometimes inexplicably better after a walk that had nothing to do with fitness. Why dancing alone in your living room can shift something that 3 hours of thinking about a problem could not touch. Why a yoga class or a swim or even just shaking your hands and shoulders for a few minutes can change the quality of an entire afternoon. Your body is not waiting to be fixed by movement. It is waiting to be expressed through it. And here is perhaps the most practically important finding of all. Moving because you love yourself works better than moving because you hate your body, in every measurable way. Better adherence, better outcomes, better mental health, better physical health, better relationship with your body over time. The story you move from matters as much as the movement itself. Movement, like everything in the tending hour, expresses itself differently across all 3 dimensions. And when we understand it through all 3 lenses at once, something opens up that no fitness program has ever offered. There is a reason that almost every spiritual and contemplative tradition in human history has incorporated movement into its practice. Walking meditation, sacred dance, yoga as a path to union, the rhythmic movement of prayer. The labyrinth walked slowly as an act of surrender. Pilgrimage, the ancient practice of moving your body through space as a form of spiritual seeking. Movement and spiritual life have always known each other, because the body in motion is a body that is present, and presence, full, unhurried, undefended presence, is the ground of every genuine spiritual experience. Spiritual movement is not about performance or achievement. It is about arriving in your body, in this moment, in contact with whatever you call sacred. It is the practice of letting your physical self become a vehicle for something that transcends the purely physical. This can be as structured as a walking meditation practice, or as spontaneous as allowing yourself to move however your body wants to move when no one is watching and the music is exactly right. The invitation is simply this: what would it feel like to let movement be a spiritual practice rather than a physical obligation? to bring the same quality of presence and reverence to your body in motion that you bring to your most sacred inner moments. This is where we get to be delightfully specific because your body has preferences, real ones, and one of the most embodied things you can do is take those preferences seriously. Not everyone is built for running. Not everyone thrives in a gym. Not everyone finds yoga calming. Some nervous systems experience it as activating, and that is completely valid. Not everyone's body wants to move in the morning, or for 60 minutes, or in a class, or alone, or to a particular kind of music. Your body has a movement personality, and it has probably been trying to tell you what it is for a long time, through what lights you up and what you dread, through what you sustain effortlessly and what you white knuckle through the kinds of movement that leave you feeling genuinely alive and the ones that leave you feeling just like you served a sentence. The most durable movement practice is not the most effective one. It is the one you actually love, the one your body has been quietly lobbying for while you were busy doing the thing you thought you should. So let me ask you directly, what kind of movement has your body been asking for? Not what you should be doing. What does your body, this specific, particular, beautifully individual body, actually want to do? Walking in nature? Swimming? Dancing? Gardening, which is genuinely physical and genuinely joyful? Stretching slowly in the morning before anyone else is awake? Cycling? Lifting things that feel satisfyingly heavy? Moving to music that makes it impossible to stand still? Whatever it is, it counts. It all counts. And it counts most when it comes from genuine desire rather than obligation. Movement is one of the most joyful relational experiences available to us, and one of the most overlooked. There is something that happens when bodies move together that words cannot quite replicate. The synchrony of walking beside someone you love, the shared exhilaration of a sport or a dance, the particular intimacy of a yoga class or a group run, or a swim alongside a friend in open water. When we move with others, our nervous systems do something remarkable. They begin to synchronize. Breath aligns, rhythm aligns. The co-regulation we discussed in our episode on connection happens not just emotionally, but physically, in the shared experience of bodies moving through space together. Relational movement is not just good for your relationships, it is good for your movement practice because we sustain movement more easily and more joyfully when it connects us to other people we care about. The walk with a friend that becomes the best conversation of the month. The dance class that feels less like exercise and more like belonging. The family tradition of movement, hiking, swimming, throwing something in the backyard, that becomes part of how love is expressed and received. And for those who move best alone, who find solitude in motion to be their most restorative form of self-care, that too is relational. It is the relationship with yourself, with your own body, with the particular quality of presence that comes when you are moving and no one needs anything from you, and you are, for this hour, entirely your own. The practice I want to offer you today is one of my favorites in this entire series. I call it the movement discovery, and it begins with the most important movement question you will ever ask yourself. What kind of movement have I been avoiding? Not because I don't want it, but because I don't feel like I deserved to enjoy it. Because for many of us, the movement we actually love got separated from the movement we thought we should be doing. The dancing got filed under frivolous. The slow walk got filed under not enough. The swimming got filed under only if you have the right body for it. The yoga got filed under once I am more flexible. The spontaneous movement got filed under childish. So here is your practice for the week. Choose one form of movement that you have been wanting to do or remembering with longing or quietly curious about that you have not given yourself permission to pursue. Not the one you think you should be doing, the one your body has been asking for. And do it once. Just once. Not as a commitment or a new routine or a before and after story. Just as an experiment in listening to what your body loves. Notice how it feels. Not whether it is hard enough or long enough or burns enough. How does it feel? What does your body say? What quality of aliveness does it bring? That noticing, that honest, curious, non-judgmental conversation with your own body about what it loves is the beginning of a movement practice that will actually last, because it is built not on willpower or obligation or the story that you need to be fixed. It is built on love. And love, it turns out, is the most sustainable motivation there is. In phase 3 of the Trilateral Transformation Program, Embody, we spend multiple weeks living inside the theme of movement. And what we explore across those weeks is not a fitness program. It is a complete reimagining of your relationship with your own body in motion. We look at the specific history you carry around movement, the stories, the experiences, the moments where movement became loaded with something heavier than it was ever meant to carry. We work with the workbook to help you find the forms of movement that genuinely belong to your body. And we practice across multiple weeks from multiple angles what it feels like to move from love rather than from lack. If today opened something, if you felt even a flicker of that memory from the beginning of this episode, that felt sense of moving purely for the joy of it, there is so much more of that available. The link is in the show notes. I want to leave you today with something simple and true. Your body wants to move, not to be fixed or punished or transformed into something more acceptable. It wants to move because moving is one of the most fundamental expressions of being alive. The child who spun in circles until they fell down laughing, who ran not toward anything, but simply because running felt like freedom. That child's body is still inside you, still capable of that quality of presence, still available to the particular joy of being in a body that moves. You don't have to earn that. You don't have to fix anything first. You don't have to wait until you are smaller or stronger or more disciplined or more deserving. You just have to begin with whatever form of movement your body is asking for right now, in the body you actually have, in the life you are actually living. In our next and final episode of this season, we arrive at the last theme of Phase 3 and the closing note of this entire series: experiences, the collected, intentional, fully inhabited moments that make a life feel genuinely lived. I have been looking forward to this one since the very beginning. I'll see you then. Until next time, tend to all of you.